Welcome to today's course. Welcome to the Compliance Monitoring Program and Assessment course. Within this course, we are providing video recordings like this one, where these are available online to study at your own time in different ways during the day. Self-study material where we're covering this course and the preparation of this material and the monitoring program in your firm. And finally, we are concluding the course with test questions for self-assessment and key takeaways that are taken throughout this workshop. Now, within this workshop, we are going to provide you with necessary knowledge in order to prepare your own compliance risk assessment and following your compliance monitoring program. So this is effectively an essential tool for the compliance function in order to prepare its own program, in order to do its own risk assessment and inspect the different areas in the firm. You will be equipped, after all, with the latest developments in the relevant legislations, how to create your own program, how to do the inspections in practice, and further to acquire all the relevant knowledge in order to do it by yourself. So we are covering within this course the compliance risk assessment and what it is and how you will perform it, how you do it, the compliance function, the duties and responsibilities. We are covering extensively the CySEC Circular C553, where it discusses the guidelines on certain aspects of the compliance function requirements. We further continue with the compliance monitoring program features and inspections, areas, and compliance risks, where these tips that we give you are very, very essential for providing and creating your own compliance monitoring program. We finally conclude with Circular 441, which provides CySEC in hints and insight from their desk-based reviews. We conclude our course with test questions and 5 hours of certification of CPDs. Compliance risk assessment. We start this course with this section, so we need to understand what is a compliance risk assessment. Within this section, of course, we are discussing the purpose and the objectives of the CRA, how the compliance risk assessment affects the compliance monitoring program, and how this is linked. So, what is the purpose and the objectives of preparing a CRA? The compliance function, of course, has to undertake the CRA to ensure efficient allocation of resources, and the compliance risk is comprehensively monitored. How this is done? The CRA determines the focus of the monitoring, of the advisory and assistance activities of the compliance function, and how often we apply it. The CRA shall be reviewed regularly, at least on an annual basis, to ensure, of course, that there is valid of the focus and the scope of the compliance monitoring program, the advisory and assistance activities. In other words, we have to make sure that our CRA remains current. Continue our section with CySEC Circular C553. Where we are discussing the guidelines on certain aspects of compliance function requirements. This particular circular is on high importance, I would say, as CySEC give us and provide us with a lot of guidelines on the compliance function, of how we can establish a compliant function. So we are going to cover the circular itself, the details of the circular, the 3 sections of the guidelines. First section, compliance function responsibilities, where we're discussing compliance risk assessment, monitoring obligations, reporting obligations, advisory and assistance obligations of the whole compliance function. We are moving on to the organizational requirements of the compliance function, which includes quite a lot of sections: effectiveness of the function, skills, knowledge, and expertise of the function, and of course the authority of independence, the permanence of the whole department, the independence from the other organization structure, proportionality in relation to the effectiveness of the function, combining compliance function with other internal control functions, outsourcing of the compliance function, and the requirements. And finally, we are concluding with the competent authority, their review, the CySEC review over the function, the review of the compliance function by the competent authorities. Inspection areas and compliance tips. In this section, we discuss the policies and the procedures we need to have in place when you are doing an inspection to the different areas of your organization, the organizational requirements that we need to inspect, the areas and their methodology, operating conditions of the firm and the respective areas and methodology, client accounts, opening and closing of the accounts, what we need to do, what areas we inspect, and methodology we follow. Policies and procedures. The firm is required to review and update its policies and procedures at least on an annual basis, and of course when we have significant changes. Which occurrences are considered significant? When we consider it, of course. When we have regulatory developments, alterations on the set of investment and ancillary services, and of course we received the relevant approval from the regulator, modifications of the business plan, any changes in the internal procedures, any restructuring, reorganization, and the firm being subject to new types of risks and any changes in the way it attracts clients. We continue now our inspection areas to departmental in order to complete our compliance monitoring program. Therefore, in this section, we are discussing the back office department, the AML department, accounting and finance, the departments for provision of services, and we have different examples according to what you will have as a service in your company, business development and marketing, customer support department, and information technology. As you can understand, on your monitoring program, you have to inspect all departments, of course. Few compliance tips here. Each department's employees must be aware, of course, duties and responsibilities, the department policies and procedures, which are established, and it has to go assessment through personal interviews. So when you go to the different departments, you have to interview the personnel there, that they are aware of their duties, they are aware of all policies and procedures. Each department needs to have physical location within head offices, preferably, as per Chinese walls, because the Chinese walls are part of the confirming and mitigation of the conflicts of interest. Physical segregation must be applied when we are ensuring information segregation of the departments.